Minor league baseball promotions have run the gambit over the years. We all know the fictional Durham Bulls of Bull Durham, where the hitter of a home run beat your opposition or the hometown squad would get a free steak if you hit the bull. I heard of one years ago, like the ugliest dog contest. Another one where basically, I think it was a Kevin Federline lookalike contest when Britney Spears was married to that somewhat talented individual. But I think one of the weirdest promotions, not on the minor league level, was on the National American League level, which almost destroyed Cleveland Stadium. So today, we're not taking a fond look, but we're taking a look back at something called 10-cent beer night. Now, it was a promotion held by the Cleveland Indians during a game against the Rangers at Cleveland Stadium on June 4th, 74. The promotion was meant to improve attendance at this game by offering cups of beer for just 10 cents each, a limit of 6. A substantial discount to regular price of 65 cents, which was equivalent to $4 last year, with a limit of 6 beers per purchase, but with no limited number of purchases made during the game. Now, the cause of it was the riot, or the incident, was fan animosity from a previous game combined with low point beer being sold cheaply and liberally. Again, 10 cents per cup, up to 6 cups at a time. Cleveland and Texas took on each other in front of several thousand inebriated attendees. The outcome, we know what's going to happen. The game was eventually forfeited by the Indians to Texas. Various players, officials, and fans, exact count unknown, were injured in the melee, and include damage to the field of Cleveland Stadium as bases were stolen but never returned. 9 fans were arrested. Most of the charges were disorderly conduct. Now, 6 days earlier, the Indians and the Rangers have been involved in a widely publicized bench-clearing brawl. The game therefore drew a rowdy and belligerent crowd. As the game proceeded, on-field incidents and massive alcohol consumption further agitated the audience, many of whom threw lighted firecrackers, streaked across the playing field, and openly smoked dope. Most sober fans departed early, leaving an increasingly drunk and unruly mob behind. Continued degradation of the game culminated a riot in the night when fans rushed the field. Players were forced to protect themselves with bats while retreating from the field. Chief umpire Nestor Shilak declared the game to be forfeited in Texas' favor due to the mob's uncontrollable behavior. Now, the Indians had previously held such promotions with an incident beginning with Nickel Beer Day in 71, which was 38 cents last year. However, a bench-clearing brawl during the team's previous meeting on May 9th at Arlington Stadium in Texas angered many Indians fans who then harbored a grudge against the Rangers. The trouble at Arlington began in the bottom of the fourth with a walk to the Rangers' Tom Grieve, followed by a Lenny Randall single. The next batter hit what should have been a double play ball to Indians third baseman John Lowenstein. Lowenstein stepped on third to retrieve Grieve and threw the ball to second base for the second out, but Randall disrupted the play with a hard slide and a second baseman, Jack Brohammer. The Indians retaliated in the bottom of the eighth when pitcher Milt Wilcox threw behind Randall's legs. Randall eventually laid down a bunt. When Wilcox fielded the ball and tagged Randall out, Randall hit him with his forearm. Indians first baseman John Ellis responded by punching Randall, and both benches emptied for a brawl. After the brawl was broken up, as Indian players and coaches returned to the dugout, they were struck by food and beer hurled by Rangers fans. Catcher Dave Duncan had to be restrained from entering the stands to fight the fans. The game was not suspended or forfeited, and no players from either team were ejected, and the Rangers won 3-0. Now, after the contest, a Cleveland reporter asked Rangers manager Billy Martin, "Are you going to take your armor to Cleveland?" To which Martin replied, "Nah, you won't have enough fans there to worry about." During the week leading up to the team's next meeting in Cleveland, sports radio talk show host Pete Franklin and Indians radio announcer Joe Tate made comments that fueled the fans' animosity towards Texas. In addition, the Plain Dealer printed a cartoon the day of the game showing Chief Wahoo holding a pair of boxing gloves with the caption, "Be ready for anything." Now, 6 days after the ball in Texas, Cleveland's 10-cent beer night promotion drew 25,000 fans to Cleveland for a Tuesday night game, twice the number expected. 12 fluid-ounce cups of beer were offered for just 10 cents each, a substantial discount at a regular price of 65, with a limit of 6 beers per purchase, but no limit on the number of purchases made during the game. Dole's president reports staff filling various sized containers of regular Stroh's beer. Now, the Rangers quickly took a 5-1 lead. Meanwhile, throughout the contest, the increasingly inebriated crowd grew more and more unruly. Early in the game, Cleveland's LaRon Lee hit a line drive into the stomach of Rangers pitcher Fergie Jenkins, after which Jenkins dropped to the ground. Fans in the upper deck of the stadium cheered and chanted, hit him again, harder, harder. A woman then ran out to the Indians on-deck circle, flashed her boobs, and then tried to kiss umpire Nestor Shylak, who was not in a kissing mood. As Grieve hit his second home run of the game, a naked man sprinted to second base and slid in, probably getting in dirt places unsuitable for speculation, in the words of one talented sports writer. 1 inning later, a father and son pair ran on the outfield and moved the fans into bleachers. Although it is not clear why some fans brought firecrackers to the game, which he set off in the stands or threw onto the field, but as the game progressed, more fans ran onto the field and disrupted play. Rangers first baseman Mike Hargrove was pelted with hot dogs and spat at, and at one point was nearly struck by an empty gallon jug of Thunderbird. I've drunk Thunderbird, that can pack a wallop. Now the Rangers later argued a call in which Lee was called safe in a close play at third, spiking Jenkins with his cleats in the process and forcing him to leave the game. The Rangers' angry response to this call provoked an enraged outburst from Cleveland fans, who again began throwing objects onto the field. A fan also threw lighted firecrackers into the Rangers' bullpen. The clouds of firecracker and marijuana smoke further contributed to the unsettling mood. Now, by the 7th, families and those fans who remained sober have mostly left the ballpark, and the remaining crowd became increasingly intoxicated and belligerent. As sports writer Paul Jackson described in a 2008 article on the event, the promotion achieved critical mass at the moment of the fans lining outfield fences as weaving, hooting queues of people refilled via industrial spigot. In the bottom of the ninth, the Indians managed to rally, tying the game 5-5, and had Rusty Torres on second, representing the potential winning run. However, with a rowdy crowd that had been drinking heavily for 9 innings, the situation finally boiled over. Now, after the Indians had tied the game, a 19-year-old fan named Terry Yurkic ran onto the field and attempted to steal Texas outfielder Jeff Burrows' cap. According to Yurkic, he dropped the hat, and as he picked it up, I looked up and saw Burrows looking at me, and I said, oh hell. Burrows kicked Yurkic and stumbled in the process. Thinking that Burrows had been attacked, Billy Martin and his players ran on the field, some with bats. A large number of intoxicated fans, some armed with knives, chains, and clubs fashioned from portions of stadium seats they had torn apart, surged onto the field, and others hurled bottles from the stands. 200 fans surrounded the 25 Rangers, with more fans coming. Realizing that the Rangers' lives might be in danger, Cleveland manager Ken Aspromonte ordered his players to grab bats and help the Rangers, attacking the team's own fans in the process. Rioters began throwing steel folding chairs, and Cleveland relief pitcher Tom Higgeldorf was hit in the head by one of them. Hargrove, after subduing one Rioter in a fistfight, had to fight another on his way back to the Texas dugout, while Texas catcher and former Indian Duke Simmons also wound up getting into a fight with a fan. The two teams retreated off the field and through the dugouts in groups, with players protecting each other. From there, here it gets really freaky. The teams fled into their clubhouses and closed and locked the doors. The crowd then pulled up and stole the bases from the infield. Riders threw a vast array of objects, including cups, rocks, bottles, batteries, and radios, hot dogs, popcorn containers, and folding chairs. Umpire crew chief Shylak, realizing that order would not be restored in a timely fashion, forfeited the game to Texas. He too was a victim of the Riders, as one struck and cut his head with a pair of a stadium seat, and his hand was cut by a thrown rock. He later called the fans uncontrollable beasts and stated he'd never seen anything like what happened except in a zoo. The rioting continued for 20 minutes. As Joe Tate and Herb Score called the riot live on radio, Score noted security guards' inability to handle the crowd. Tate said, this is absolute tragedy. The Cleveland Division of Police finally arrived to restore order, arresting 9 fans. Indians players escorted the Rangers to the team's bus. A local sports writer, Dan Coughlin of the Chronicle Telegram, attempted to interview fans but was punched in the face twice, though Coughlin later recollected that the drunken punches were so weak he was barely impacted by then. Now, Cleveland GM Phil Segui blamed the umpires for losing control of the game. The Sporting News noted that Segui's perspective might have been difficult had he been in Shylak's shoes, in the midst of knife-wielding, bottle-throwing, chair-tossing, fist-swinging drunks. AL League President Lee McPhail commented there was no question that the beer played a part in the riot. Now, Joe Brinkman, the great umpire, was first base in this game, and let's all look at the box score. Again, Cesar Tovar for Rangers had 1 RBI. Grieve went 3 for 4 with 2 ribbies. And Toby Hara had 2 hits and 2 RBIs. Now, again, Sundberg had a double. Tovar had a double. Toby Hara had 1, and so did Fregosi. Hara had a triple. Grieve had a 2-run, 2 home runs, 1 off Peterson, and 14 of Bosman, and grounded double play Sundberg, of course. Now for Cleveland, John Lowenstein, the third baseman, had 1 RBI, and so did Oscar Gamble, George Hendrick, and of course Crosby. Now the Brohammer had a double, and Hendrick had a double. Lowenstein had a sacrifice fly, and Jenkins and Foucault played pitcher for the Rangers with Pedersen, Bozeman, Buskey, and Wilcox. And again, the Nestor Shilak was the crew chief, but he was doing third at the time. Now, again, very, very interesting contest where we're going to go a little bit deeper here. Now, among the Indians players fleeing was outfielder Rossi Torres, who experienced 3 Major League Baseball riots. In addition to this game, he had been with the Yankees in the Senators' final game in Washington 71, and he was later with the White Sox during the infamous Disco Demolition night in 75. So Torres, 3 of the biggest riots, all in the 1970s. Now, NBC newscaster Tim Russert, then a student at the Cleveland Marshall College of Law, attended the game. I went with $2 in my pocket, he recalled. You do the math. Cleveland held a second beer night promotion on July 18th, which was completed with an incident, attracting 41,848 fans, with beer again selling for 10 cents per cup, but a limit of 2 per person at a reduced price, along with 200 police officers at the ballpark. There was no indication that the officers got free beer. Now, would this, you call this a hooligan game? I don't think so. I think a rivalry. And you wouldn't think Cleveland Indians, an ALS team, would have a big rivalry against the Texas Rangers, but here you have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, in the case of riots, I've been in a few riots in my life, especially a teen dance riot in 1983 included 300 people. This could have got really dangerous because you would have got baseball bats. And who knows, I mean, the United States at the time, small handguns. It's a surprise nobody got shot. But then again, most of the good people had gone, so maybe they were just doing it for themselves. But ladies and gentlemen, Demolition Night was bad enough, but this, I've heard from some of my media colleagues in that part of the States, it was really dangerous. If you were a beat writer that night, you would probably have hoped that the internet would have came 20 years early so you could cover it, via live stream. So, ladies and gentlemen, that's a story of 10 Cent Beer Night, one of the most bizarre incidents in baseball history. By the way, we do podcasts on these events, like really bizarre sport happenings. If you have a favorite, let us know. We're going to try to do some of the craziest moments in hockey and baseball history and football history over the years. Might do something on Bottlegate. You know, you're not in Cleveland. That was the direct reference to what happened. So, ladies and gentlemen, if you like what you're doing here, give us a like, comment, subscribe, or share. And don't forget, be safe in the roads. It's Labor Day weekend in Canada and the States. So, if you're driving home or back to your location, you're listening to this on your way, please be careful. Watch for bad drivers. They're all over New Brunswick and the east coast of the States and Canada. Have a good one. Bye.